Okay, hello and good afternoon to all of the participants. On the behalf of Department of Electrical Engineering, Guru Nanak Institute of Engineering and Technology, I, Professor Avinash Velankivar, welcome you all on the second day of this 3 days online STTP on recent trends in electrical power system. Today, we have an eminent speaker with us, Professor Ravi Shankar Kankale sir. Ravi Shankar Kankale sir is an assistant professor and a research scholar at Sri Sant Gajanan Maharaj College of Engineering, Shegaon. He has more than 12 years of the experience in academics and research. His area of interest is distributed generation. He has guided many masters and the UG students with this particular area. So I request Ravi Shankar sir to please start the session and enlighten us with the area of this distributed generation and its impact. Ravi sir, you can continue.
Thank you, sir. So, at the outset, I welcome all the participants for this second day of the STTP, that is on the recent trends in electrical power system, organized by Department of Electrical Engineering, Guru Nanak Institute of Engineering and Technology, Nagpur, during this 27th to 29th of July 2020. So, I am thankful to the principal, sir, Srivastav, sir, then head of the electrical department, Mumbai, sir, and the coordinator of this STDP, Velankivar, sir, for giving me an opportunity to present this topic in front of you. So we'll start the discussion on this topic. So whatever the topic I have selected today for the discussion, it is not a new topic, but still people will find some area of research in this topic. So whatever the research areas, what are the points on which a research can be carried out, that I am going to be discussed in this topic. I will just give you the overview, what is the concept of distributed generation and what are the things related with it, and then how we are going to be select the problem statement using this for our research work. So more focus will be on the topics for the research work. So here the title is distributed generation and its impact on power system. So here distributed generation is having several impacts on the electrical power system. So what are the impacts that are going to be happen over there? So that impacts are listed in my presentation. So if you take a single impact, then you can have a research work on that particular impact. So there are 10 to 12, 10 to 15 impacts that I have listed over there. So on each impact, you can have your research book. So those who are say going to start their research and finding for the area, so they may be benefited from this. So we'll move to the slides. So this is the content slide. So in this presentation, I am going to be give you the introduction related with distributed generation, then what is the background of our modern power system, then what are the concepts of distributed generation, then what are the forces behind the evolution of distributed generation, market of energy in India, then different DG technologies, then grid integration of DG interfacing techniques, and the issues due to incorporation of DG in the power system, means the impacts of distributed generation that we are going to be discuss. So first introduction. So here what is happening day by day, if you see, the expansion is going to be occur. Most of the industries are coming in market. Residential complex are increasing, commercial complex are increasing, agriculture sector is also growing up. So energy demand is going to be rise day by day, and if the energy demand is increasing, then in that case your conventional sources are not capable to meet that ever increasing demand. So in that case, there is a need to find out certain alternatives. So here what is happening? We are finding the alternative arrangement to support this increase in the demand over there. So for that, this is an important issue. One possible solution for this is in rural and remote areas is to use the distributed generation. So wherever the electricity is not available, so in that remote locations or rural locations, the distributed generations was used from the beginning itself. Because if you talk about this topic, distributed generation, it is not a new topic. It is an old topic, but now the distributed generation has got importance because of renewable energy sources. So that's why we are talking it is as a recent trend or recent area. Okay, but it is not a recent area. In rural area or remote locations, in order to give the electricity, in order to have the electricity, the distributed generation was used earlier also. Okay, so although the DG is not a new concept, the application of DG is continuously going to be changed. Initially, DG system were mostly utilized for shaving peak power or providing the power when the electrical networks could not reach. So wherever the electricity network was not available in that area, in order to feed the load, the distributed generation was used over there, or in sometimes for shaving the peak load conditions, the distributed generation was used. Okay, but at present, what is happening? The DG system, in addition to its earlier application, it is used for voltage support. It is used for providing load relief for transmission lines. It is used for supporting consumers under the condition of main failure, and it is also used toward the improvement of your power system power quality. Okay, so some power quality problems may be solved with the help of your DG system. So however, the DG system also provide the means of utilizing the renewable energy resources, because nowadays the fossil fuels are in the verge of extinction. So we need to find out the alternative for that. If that fossil fuels will extinguish, then in that case, what will happen? There will be no energy generation in the future with the fossil fuels. So in that case, we need to find out the alternative, and the best alternative is the renewable energy resources. So solar and wind, that are the popular energy, renewable energy resources that are available in free of cost. So that source is available in the free, and with the help of that, we can generate the energy. However, DG system tend to have some advantages and disadvantage in regard to its interconnection to the power system, especially when utilizing the renewable energy as a wind, hydro, and solar power to support the rural networks. Because what will happen if you interconnect this distributed generation with our grid? In that case, it is going to be cause some problems. Sometimes it is having some advantages, sometimes it is having some disadvantages. So it will depend upon the penetration level of your distributed generation, whether the impact will be a positive impact or it will be a negative impact. So that will depend upon the penetration level. Okay, so we can have advantages as well as disadvantages of distrib- distributed generation over there. So this topic or this presentation, it is focused on the impacts of distributed generation on the electrical power system. Then we'll move to the next slide, that is background of modern power system. So in the earlier stage of electricity generation, the concept was that the generators were placed near the load. Okay, means what we have if we you are all from the electrical background, so you are aware about the isolated generator case. So that was the concept in the earlier days. Isolated generator case means the load and the generator is located near the load. So what is happening in that case? Your generator is only feeding the local load. And in that case, what was the problem? Whenever any failure or any scheduled maintenance has to be carried out on that particular generator, so in that case, the continuity of the supply was disturbed. So in that case, if we want to maintain the continuity of supply, we need the standby unit to be used over there, and the cost associated with the standby unit, that is high. So that was not the feasible solution. So in that case, what is happening? We move to the concept of grid or interconnected system. So whatever the drawbacks of your isolated system, so that all drawbacks are overcome under the interconnected or grid connected system, where the number of generating stations available in a system that are interconnected with the grid, with the transmission network, and your load is also connected with the same network. So in that case, what was the advantage? If any generator fails in the network, in the grid, then in that case, hello, is the PPT
Yes, sir,
visible?
you are audible. Yes, 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 it is visible, sir. All
PPT is
okay from our
visible?
side. Yes, yes,
Okay.
yes, it is visible.
What about participants?
So there are some technical
Yes, sir,
problems on
it is
their side.
visible.
Hello?
Yes, sir, it is visible.
Okay,
If it
okay.
is visible.
Okay. Shall I continue?
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir, please continue.
Okay. So in the grid connected system, your generator and loads are connected in a network. And in that case, if a failure occurs of any one unit, then in that case, the running units, other running units, they share the load of that particular failure unit. So that was the advantage. So in that case, we don't need any standby unit. So cost associated with that has been saved. That is one advantage. Then what we have, we earlier have a area grid over there. Okay, and in order to have control over there, there is a regulatory body that is called as a load dispatch center. Followed by that area load dispatch center, we have the concept of a state grid. So under that, we have formed the grid of a particular state. So, for example, if you consider the Maharashtra, in case of Maharashtra, we have two AC grids. One is VKM. VKM means Vidarbha Khandesh Marathwada, and the other grid is KTRT, that is Koina Trombe Railway Tata. So these are the two AC grids, and in parallel with the AC grid, we have one HVDC link that runs between Chandrapur and Padge. Okay, so that is the HVDC link over there. So in parallel with AC, we have a HVDC link, and with that network, we are going to be supply the power to entire Maharashtra region. And in order to have a control over this, there is a state load dispatch center, and that state load dispatch center is located at uh, Kalwa, Mumbai, and the area load dispatch center, it is located at Ambazari, Nagpur. Okay.
Hello, Ravi, sir.
Yes.
Sir, sorry to interrupt. I request all the participants, please not to share your screen. Here I'm getting notification that some of the participants are sharing the screen. Please don't share your screen. The presentation and audio all are clear from our side. It is visible. Please don't share your screen. Thank you, sir. Please continue, Ravi, sir.
If you are facing any problem, you can reconnect. Okay. If you are not, say, if the screen is not visible to you, if it is not visible, so you can rejoin this meeting. So we have the state grid, and in order to control that state grid or the area grid, we have the state load dispatch center available at Kalwa and area load dispatch center available at Ambazari, Nagpur. So this is about the state grids. Then again, whatever the advantages of your interconnected system, they are more. So for that, we move to the concept of uh, we move to the concept of regional grids. So in that, what we have India is divided into 5 regions: Eastern region, Western region, Northern, Southern, and Northeastern region. So these are the 5 regions in which India is divided. and in each region there are around 5 to 7 states. So in that 5 7 states, they are interconnected and they form their grid, and that grid is called as a regional grid. So that was the concept. Again, in order to control this regional grid, there is a regional load dispatch center. Again, we move to the further, when we moved further and we form the national grid where this all 5 regions in the India are interconnected, and we have formed a national grid. And in order to control this national grid, we have a national load dispatch center present at Delhi. So here what is happening? What are the advantage of this national grid? If surplus amount of energy is available at say Jammu Kashmir area, so in that case, and if demand is in the Kanyakumari, in that case, what will happen? You can easily transmit that surplus power from Kashmir to Kanyakumari, and that is possible only because of interconnected network, only because of grid connected system. So that is the advantage of your grid. So in earlier days we have isolated system, but now at present we have a grid connected system. So what is happening? The energy demand is increasing day by day, and some of the limitations of your, whatever the limitations of your say present power system, that are going to be overcome by the insertion of your distributed generation, or by the introduction of your distributed generation in the present grid. So here we'll discuss what is the distributed generation concept. So here a standard definition, IEEE definition, it is given. So according to the IEEE, the distributed generation is defined as the generation of electricity by facilities that are sufficiently smaller than central generating plants, so as to allow interconnection at nearly any point in the power system. So what is the definition? That these are the generations which are having smaller capacity as compared to your centralized generating plants. So whatever the thermal plant, nuclear plant, hydro plant, whatever the plants we have, in comparison to those central generating plants, the capacity of this type of generation, it is less. And another thing is, this type of system can be connected to your power system at any point. Okay, you can connect it at any point in your power system, but generally it is connected on the distributed distribution side. Okay, at the customer side. So distributed generation is considered as an electrical source connected to the power system in a point very close to or at a customer site, which is small enough compared with the centralized power plant. So most of the time it is connected in a point which is closer to the customer. So we can say it is on the distribution side. Okay, it is not on the transmission side. It is most of the time on the distribution side. And on the distribution side, your distribution utility may be the utility which is feeding that distributed generation in the system, or it may be the end user, it may be the customer who can feed the power in the grid with the help of distributed generation. The power generation from DG unit is small, and it is ranging from say 1 kilowatt to 100 megawatt. In some cases, in case of say offshore generation, it is it is up to 1000 megawatt also. But this is the general figure, 1 kilowatt to 100 megawatt. DG units are mainly classified into two types. One is combined heat and power type, and the other is renewable energy type. And these are requiring some power electronic converters for their interface or for their interconnection with the grid. And we'll discuss what are the forces behind the evolution of the distributed generation. Okay, so we can say the forces behind its evolution, or we can say the necessity of distributed generation, why we need the distributed generation in our system. So currently there is a large shift in the power generation from a conventional energy sources to the renewable energy sources based distributed generation for a number of reasons, because fossil fuels are decreasing day by day. Fossil fuels are responsible for pollutions. Distributed generation system, they are mostly targeted on the renewable energy source. So renewable energy source, it is freely available and it is not producing any form of pollution. So that's why, because of these advantages of your renewable energy source based distributed generation system are now becoming popular. Okay. So what are the other advantages? What are the other reasons why this paradigm shift is going to be occur from your conventional generation to the distributed generation? So some points are listed here. So first point is the ever increasing demand for energy. So here what is happening? The demand for your energy is day by day increasing. So in order to increase the generation, we need the fuel, and if a fossil fuel is say having a deficiency of fossil fuel, so in order that we are not able to increase our generation based upon the fossil fuels. So naturally we need to find out the alternative for that fossil fuel, and that alternative is nothing but your renewable energy. So renewable energy is used as a fuel over there, and with the help of that we can have a generation, and we can say supply the demand, whatever the demand of energy is there, so we can feed that demand. Okay, so that is the first case. Then second is constraints on construction of new transmission lines. So what is happening? If you want to transmit power from one end to another end, in our conventional power system, what we have the transmission lines, and in that case, the concept is that we have the generation utility, we have a transmission utility, and we have a distribution utility. So at the generation side, the voltage level is increased over there, and the power is transmitted over a long distance with the help of transmission line. Okay, but what is happening? There are some remote locations where it is not easy to erect the transmission line, because if you consider the cost for installation or erection of that transmission line for that particular remote location, so that cost is very high. So in order to overcome that, and what is happening, we can have a distributed generation for that particular area. We can have a microgrid. Another concept is microgrid. You are well aware about the microgrid. So if any village is not having electricity, so in that case we can form a microgrid, and we can give the supply to that village. So that is again a application of your distributed generation. Microgrid is the application of it. So here what is happening, if you have any constraint over the construction of your new transmission lines, so in that case you can make use of this distributed generation. Then next point is concerns over fossil fuel depletion. We have already discussed fossil fuels are on the verge of depletion. So in that case, alternative is your renewable energy based DG. The next point is inefficient transmission of bulk power over long distances. So again, what is happening? It is related with the transmission system over there. So if you are transmitting the power from one end to another end and the distance is long, so definitely some amount of losses are going to be takes place in your transmission system, because we don't have any system which is not having any loss. Though we are increasing, because what is happening, in order to increase the efficiency of our transmission system, what we are doing nowadays, we are increasing the voltage. Whatever the transmission voltage is there, that we are going to be increased. If you see the concept, in earlier days we have, I think we have started with the 66 kV of transmission, then we had the system of 132 kV, then 220 kV, then 400 kV, then 765 kV, and at present we are operating at 1200 kV. Okay, and in the future it is planning for 1500 kV. So why we are moving toward the higher voltage side for transmission? Because if you increase the voltage level, and if you want to transmit the bulk amount of power from one location to another location, then in that case If voltage value is higher, then definitely your current value will be lower in order to transmit the power. And if your magnitude of current is lower, definitely the losses, that is I square R loss, that are going to be reduced. Because if you increase the value of voltage, definitely current required will be less in order to transmit a particular power. And in that case, if current is reducing, definitely your I square R loss are going to be reduced. So that's why we are moving toward the concept of high voltage transmission. We have high voltage, then extra high voltage and ultra high voltage. So now we have at 1200 kV. That is the reason. So if your I square R loss is less, definitely your transmission line efficiency will be high. But still, we are not having zero losses. Some losses will occur in your system because we don't have ideal system that are practical system, and practical system is having some losses. It is not lossless system. Okay. So in that case, if you are transmitting the power from say one location to another location, and if the line length is higher, definitely losses will be higher. So in order to overcome that, and in order to increase the efficiency of your system, what we can do, we can make use of distributed generation, where a remote location can be fed with the help of a microgrid, which may consist of two three types of renewable energy source generation. And whatever the load requirement, load demand of that particular village or remote location can be easily made by the uh, distributed generation system or microgrid concept. Okay. So that's why, that is the advantage of this system, or that is the reason behind shift in the system from conventional system to your DG type of system. Then another point is increase awareness of greenhouse gas emission. So whenever you are using the fossil fuel as a source, definitely with the burning of coal, the pollution is going to be takes place. Some gases may be emitted, and that will be responsible for the greenhouse effect. Okay. So in order to overcome that, if you are using the renewable energy based distributed generation system, then in that case the energy is generated in a pollution free form, because that are considered to be green source. And green source, they are eco friendly, and they are not generating any pollution, and they are not responsible for any greenhouse type of effects. So that is another advantage, or that is another reason. Then next is liberalization of electricity industry. So here what is happening, as per the energy act, the concept of open access and all that has come up. And because of that, because of say amendment in the electricity act, what is happening, I as a customer is able to sell my power. If I have a source of distributed generation of say 1 megawatt, so I can sell that power to the utility. That is possible. You are aware about the net metering concept. Nowadays, people are having a rooftop solar system, and that rooftop solar system is now, say, connected with the net meters, and that net meters are going to be take the log of the power exchange from utility to the house, and from our house to the utility. So whatever the power exchange takes place between this two things, that is going to be recorded by your net meter, and based upon the reading, finally you will get the billing. So here what is happening, because of the amendment in the energy act, electricity act, what is happening, people are able to sell their power to the utility. Okay. So that is called as a liberalization of electricity industry. So here it is not a utility only who can sell the power. Now the scenario is a customer can also sell the power to the utility or to any customer. Okay. That is the advantage, and that is again a new thing, liberalization of electricity industry. Then next is more focus towards energy efficiency. So we are interested in increasing the efficiency of our power system. So in order to increase the efficiency, definitely we need to reduce the losses occurring in our system. The transmission loss is one of the loss. So transformer are also responsible for some amount of loss. So whatever the equipments coming in your power system which are responsible for the loss. So if you are having DG type of system or microgrid type of system, so those losses can be reduced to some extent, and we can have energy efficiency. The next is development in distributed generation technologies. So here what is happening, day by day developments are going on in the distributed generation technologies. If you consider the solar panel, so earlier we have a solar panels whose efficiency is less, hardly 10%. But nowadays the efficiency of your solar panel is increasing because we have say monocrystalline, polycrystalline, this type of arrangement. Then there are new advancement in the solar cell technologies going up, and because of that, whatever the efficiency of your solar system is going to be increased. So in addition to this, what we need the converters. Either we need the DC-DC converter, either we need the DC to AC, that is inverter also we are requiring over there in order to have the interface of this distributed generation into our utility. So efficiency of those devices is also important. So nowadays, research is going on in that area in order to design inverters, in order to design the converters, then maximum power point trackers and all that devices. That technologies are going to be evolved and advancements are taking in that areas. And because of that advancement, some features, some additional characteristics are going to be added in your distributed generation. And because of that, what will happen, this technology is going to be more popular than the conventional power system or that conventional energy system. The next point is increased customer demand for highly reliable electricity. So again, people are say nowadays uh, keen interested or say having the awareness that utility has to, we are paying to the utility and utility has to maintain our power supply in a continuously. Okay, so continuity of the supply is important. Okay, for continuity, if your system is continuity of your supply is good, and if your utility is providing you a continuous supply without any interruption, so definitely its reliability is more. But what will happen if people are using this DG kind of system, then in that case they are sure that either when their DG is going to be supplied, under that case they can use the DG as a source. And when DG is not available, for example, if solar system is used in a particular house, rooftop solar, so during the daytime the output of your solar will be higher, so definitely he will use the solar as a source, and during the night time he will make use of a utility. So in that case what will happen, the reliability of the system is increase over there. If storage facility is there, so again it will increase the reliability of the system. So that is another reason. Then next is on-site generation. On-site generation means the generation which is taking place at the customer end. Okay, so we have the rooftop system. So rooftop system is available with the customer. The customer is having its own generation. So that type of generation which is at the distribution side or at the customer side, so that will be called as a on-site generation, means the generation available at the place where the load is available, because load is our own house load and we have our own generation. So that is called as a on-site generation, means जहाँ पे जरूरत है वहीं पे आप उसको generate कर रहे हैं, that is on-site generation. And then the last point is a standby generation. So we can make use of distributed generation as a standby generation also, because we can make use of DG as a say generation for the catering with the peak load condition also, because with the help of this we can generate the power during the daytime if solar is available, so we can suddenly increase our generation at any moment. So we can cater with the peak load condition also with the help of this type of generation. So we can say it is used as a standby generation also. And we'll move to the next point, that is energy market in India. So this is a data taken from the utility website. So this is showing you the all India installed capacity in megawatt of power station. So if you see, there are four types of sources represented over there, mode of generation available over there. One is thermal. So under that thermal, there are coal, lignite, gas, and diesel. These are the say fossil fuels which are used for the generation over there. So based upon that, we have the installed capacity and what is the percentage of total installed capacity share it is going to be takes place. It is going to be take that is represented in that table. Then another source is nuclear is used as a source for the generation. So that is one mode of generation. Then hydro is another mode of generation, and the last one is RES, that is renewable energy source. So renewable energy source, it is also used as a mode of generation over there. So you can observe here, it is 86,759 megawatt is going to be generated with the help of renewable energy sources. And the breakup of all that renewable energy sources, it is given in the second table, where small hydropower, that is taking share of 4683 megawatt, wind is taking 37,669 megawatt, then biopower, under that biopower cogeneration, it is taking 9,861 megawatt, and the generation from waste energy, it is 139 megawatt. Then generation from solar, it is 34,405. So total capacity is around 86,759 megawatt. So this is the share of your say renewable energy source generation. So these renewable energy sources based generations are now utilized by our utility also for increasing the generation and for meeting the ever increasing demand. Okay, so India at 2020 22, India has a target of 175 gigawatt of renewable energy source generation. Out of that, 100 gigawatt target is for your solar based generation, and around 60 gigawatt it is the target of wind generation. So that is the target set by our government. So our government is also providing the scheme. If you see the budget, so a specific budget is allocated for the renewable energy source generation. Okay, whatever the subsidies and all that we are getting, so that is only because of amendment in your budget. So our prime minister is say focus on this renewable energy based generation over there, and that's why we have that target for 2022. Then we'll discuss what are the DG technologies. Distributed generation is one of the recent trend in the power system used to support the increased energy demand. Then different nations or different utilities, they are using the different nomenclatures. Some are saying that embedded generation, some are saying dispersed generation, or some are saying it as a decentralized generation. Okay, so several international organizations, they have given the definition of distributed generation. The standard definition given by the IEEE that we have already discussed. Then another thing is there are different technologies, types of technology available for this distributed generation. So these are broadly classified on the energy resources used for their generation. So the most commonly used, we already CHP type, and the another is renewable energy source type. These are the main two categories over there. Then in the next slide, we'll see the table which is going to be represent you different most commonly used different digi technologies and their typical values uh, their typical values available in the module size that is given over there. So if you observe here, so around 18 most commonly used digi technologies are shown over here, and their typical available size power for a single module that is given over there. This is not the capacity of a particular say DG type of generation. It is a availability of a particular module for that type of generation. If you are taking an example of uh, say micro hydro turbine, so in that case you will get a module which is ranging from 25 kilowatt to 1 megawatt. So that is the capacity of a single module. So you can have a parallel combination of all that, and you can generate in terms of 100 megawatt or 1000 megawatts also. Okay, so this is the capacity given for a single module of that particular type of DG. Then these are the photographs or images of your DG technologies. First is reciprocating engine type, micro turbine, then fuel cell, solar, wind, and micro hydro. So out of this, some are lying under the category of CHP, and some are lying under the category of renewable energy source based distributed generation. Then we'll discuss the DG technology. First is photovoltaic system. So here, photovoltaic system, if you see here, the solar energy is available free of cost and throughout the year. So here, PV panel, PV modules, they are used, and with the help of this PV module, we are going to be design our solar system, solar generation or PV generation system. So in that case, what will happen, depending upon the load requirement, we are going to be have the design of our solar PV modules. So here, what is happening, we are selecting a particular say PV panel, and we are going to make a array over there of all that PV modules, and we are going to be get the desired voltage and desired power from that system. So here, what is happening, in order to get the maximum output from your solar system, we need to have the controller, charge controller, which may comprise of your maximum power point tracker, which will take care of getting a maximum efficiency from your solar PV module. And the output of your solar panel, it is in the form of DC. So with the help of this, we can directly charge our batteries with the help of a charge control system. We can either directly charge our battery, or if we don't need a battery system, if we are interested in only grid connected system, that is online system, so in that case we can directly convert that power into a AC with the help of inverters, and we can feed it into our utility. Okay, that is one way. Another way is, if you are not having a grid connected system, if you are having a offline system, so off grid system, in that case the concept is that we are going to be charge the battery with the help of the solar, and that uh, battery are used as a source of energy. So either we use directly that power, or we can use it through the battery over there, because during the night time when the sun is not available, so in that case we can make use of the storage system over there. So that is off grid system. So here we have the choice of on grid system and off grid system, both can be used over there. But when you talk about the DG system, so it is connected with the it can be a grid connected system in most of the case. Okay, you can use your DG in a isolated mode or islanded mode also. Okay, you can disconnect your DG from the utility, and you can use that power for your own house or for your own load. Okay, that may be the concept. Then another technique is wind turbine system. So wind generation is another renewable energy source over there. Again, the wind is available free of cost. With the help of that, we can generate the power. So in case of wind generation, induction generators are used for the generation. Sometimes some synchronous generators are also used, but the doubly fed induction generators DFIGs are most common generators which are used in case of your wind generation system. So here, if you observe the speed of your windmill, so the speed or the RPM is less. Okay, so connected to the shaft of your windmill, a gearbox arrangement is there, and that with the help of that gear, the RPM is going to be increased over there, and that is connected with the shaft of your generator over there. Okay, so if your windmill is rotating at 5 RPM, but with the help of gear arrangement, you can convert that those RPM in 1000 RPM also, and you can rotate your induction generator at 1000 rpm. So depending upon the design of your system, the gear ratio and all that things are selected over there. The disadvantage of this wind generation system is that the speed of your wind is not constant, so it is variable. And the effect of that, the speed of your induction generator, the speed at which the rotor of your induction generator is going to be rotated, that is again not constant. So because of that, what will happen, a fluctuation is going to be takes place. Voltage fluctuation as well as the frequency is going to be fluctuate over there. So this is one of the say drawback of your wind type of system. But in order to overcome this drawback, nowadays what is happening, the AC supply is converted to DC with the help of rectifier circuit, and then again it is converted to the AC with the help of inverter. So whatever the issues related with that, that are going to be resolved over there, and we get the power which can be directly then fed to the utility or to the grid over there. Okay, because whenever you need to have a interface, or whenever you need to have the interconnection of any generator with the grid, so definitely it has to follow the norms of synchronization. So what are the norms of synchronization? That your voltage should be same. The system to which you are connecting your generator, so the voltage of that generator and the say system, it should be matched. Then frequency should be same, and third thing is phase sequence should be same. If these three conditions are satisfied, then and then only you can synchronize your generator with the utility. So same things has to be satisfied by your DG sources. It may be your solar PV generation, it may be your wind generation. So whatever the type of generation you are using as a DG, so that has to satisfy all this condition. Then and then only we can have a interconnection, we can have a interface with the grid. Then next is fuel cell. So with the help of fuel cell also, we can generate the power. And if you want to feed it into a utility, so definitely output of your fuel cell, it is in the form of DC. So you need to have an inverter over there, and that inverted output will be feed to the utility or feed to the grid over there. So this is fuel cell system. Then micro turbine type of system. In case of micro turbine system, you can have a different types of system. Micro turbine, under that you can have the micro hydro power plant also. So a micro hydro power plant, that will be, micro means they are having a small generation over there. Small capacity generators are there. So in that case, what we'll have, we can use a turbine system over there. So that turbine is rotated uh, with the help of hydro, if it is a hydro type of system. So with the help of water pressure, that turbine, hydro turbine is rotated over there, and coupled to the hydro turbine, we have the synchronous generator over there. So when your turbine rotates, so your generator is also going to be rotated, because they are mechanically coupled over there. So again, what is happening, if the fluctuation in the source, that is the turbine side, is there, so definitely that affects on the say source side, because whatever the output of your generator, so that is going to be distorted. So again, in order to overcome that, you can have the conversion from AC to DC with the help of rectifier, and again you can invert it with the help of inverter, and then you can feed it easily in the grid. So these are some examples that we have discussed. Then we'll see what is a grid integration of a DG. So to include a DG system in the main network of power system, DG system are integrated with the grid. So if you want to include our DG in the power system, what we have to do, we have to integrate this DG into a grid. So grid integration of DG system not only promises more reliable functioning of your power system, but also the inclusion of renewable energy resources in the main framework. So with this, what will happen? It is not only increasing the reliability of your system, but in addition to this, what is happening here? It is going to be introduce the renewable energy source based generation into your main system. That is the advantage of this grid integration. While they can have some positive effects, impacts on the distribution network, they can also have negative impacts at high penetrations if appropriate measures are not implemented. So what is happening? Whenever you are integrating the distributed generation to the grid, so it will have several positive impacts, it will have several negative impacts, and that is depending upon the penetration level, and that is depending upon the appropriate measures taken over there. If you are taking appropriate measures, if you are following all the norms and the rules given by the regulatory bodies, then in that case the positive impact will be more as compared to the negative impacts. Okay, so this is due to the occurrence of various technical and economic issues in the grid integration. So because of the technical issues and economic issues occurring in the grid integration, the effects may be positive, may be negative. Each distributed generation resource has its own integration issue. So integration issue जो है that are varying from say type of your DG. If you are using solar as a distributed generation source over there, then the issue concern with it will be different. If you are using wind generation type of DG, then in that case the issue corresponding to it will be different. So different DG will have a different issue. That issue will not be common for all the DG. Some may have that as a disadvantage, some may have that as an advantage also. Okay. So here successful integration of distributed generation into distribution network relies heavily on effective planning and operation strategies. So if you want to integrate your distributed generation successfully in the utility in the grid, then in that case what you have to do, you have to have the effective planning and operation strategies. Then only it is possible to have a successful integration or operation of a DG with the grid. So this can be achieved by introducing smart grid and microgrid in the existing distribution network. So this can be done with the help of the again recent uh, area, that is smart grid and a microgrid. So with the help of this smart grid and microgrid concept, what we can do, we can have the successful integration of distributed generation in the distribution system. Then this is a figure which is showing you the integration of DG with the distribution network. So if you see what is represented here at the center point, AC bus is shown over there. We can call it as a point of common coupling. Point of common coupling, it is used nowadays whenever you study the concept of uh, stability study, or say improvement of stability, or whenever you are going to be study the topics such as power quality improvement. So in that case, you are making use of some custom power devices, and you are in case of stability, you are making use of some stability devices, fact devices. So in that case, you interface that device, say DVR, DStatCom, StatCom, this kind of device you connect with the system at the point which is called as point of common coupling. So this is one type of point of common coupling where we are connecting number of things over there. So this is a AC bit, AC bus is represented here. So on the left hand side we have the source of generation, and on the right hand side we have the load over there. So your load may be AC load, your load may be a DC load over there. So depending upon the condition, because nowadays we are making use of AC equipments and DC equipments also. So here grid is represented, and along with that a distributed generation which comprises wind system and solar PV system. It is shown over there. Along with that, a switch is represented over there. So with the help of this switch, what we can do, we can have the islanded operation also, because if we have sufficient generation with the help of DG sources, in that case we can use only DG as a source for feeding the load, and we can say disconnect the utility. So that type of operation is called as a islanded operation. And another thing is, if during the night time if your say DG is not going to be give you any output, so in that case what you can do, you can make use of a grid. That is another case. Another possibility is that your load demand is more than the capacity of your distributed generation. So in that case you have to close both the switches. Means under that case your KCL will be satisfied at the point of common coupling, because the current coming from the utility, that is grid, current coming from your distributed generation, that is going to be added at the AC bus or point of coupling, and that is given to the load over there. So at this AC bus, your AC bus is acting as a junction point, and at that junction point your KCL will be verified. Okay, means two sources, they are uh, acting simultaneously, and they are going to be made the load requirement. So these are the possible operations over here. Either we can use grid only, either we can use distributed generation only, or we can use both type of generation in order to meet the load demand. Then DG interfacing techniques. So synchronous and induction generator based wind power generation and small hydro power generation can be directly connected to the grid. So sometimes synchronous type or induction type generators, they can directly interface with the grid. Again, the concept is same. They have to satisfy the condition of synchronization. If they satisfy the condition of synchronization, we can directly connect them to the grid. We don't need any type of conversion in between. Okay, that was the thing. However, due to power quality and starting transient issues, they require power electronic converters for interfacing with the grid. So some generators, or the power which is generated with the help of either your synchronous generator or a induction generator, it is having some issues with power quality and starting transients. So in order to overcome those problems, we can make use of power electronic converters in order to have interface with the grid. Then renewable energy based distributed generation needs power electronic converters like DC to DC converter and DC to AC converter for interconnection with the grid. When you are using renewable source, so renewable energy source, for example solar, so output of solar is DC. So in that case, you need DC to DC converter and then DC to AC converter to have an interface with the grid. So there are three basic interfacing technologies available for distributed generation system. First is synchronous generator, second is induction generator, and third is power electronic converter. So these are the three interfacing technologies. So in the first figure, you can observe a synchronous generator based DG interfacing with grid is shown over there. So for example, hydro generations, micro hydro generation is there, or small hydro generation is there, where a hydro source is there. It is say rotating the hydro turbine, and coupled to the hydro turbine, we have a synchronous generator. So if the speed or the RPM are, say, uh, if the RPM are rated RPM, then in that case, the output of your synchronous generator will be rated, and that can be directly interface with the grid. Okay, so no doubt we will make matching of the voltages and all that, and then we can connect it with the grid. So this is a simple case. That is our conventional case. Our conventional system is working on this. Okay. Then second concept is your induction generator case. So if you are having wind as a source over there, so wind source, it is rotating the wind turbine, that is the windmills or blades of windmill. Then coupled to that, we have a induction generator, so that is going to be rotate, and the output of that, it may be a variable output, so fluctuation may be there. So in that case, we need a rectifier to convert it to DC and then invert it back in the AC form, and then that can be easily interfaced with the grid. So this is another kind of a DG interfacing technique or technology. Then the last one, it is power electronic converter based DG interfacing technology. So here a solar energy source is there, then that is sun is the source over there. Then we have solar PV module, so which convert the sun energy or heat energy into a electrical energy. Then we need DC-DC converter. It may be buck converter, it may be boost converter. So based upon the condition, it may be buck or boost type of converter over there. Then we get constant DC, and that constant DC voltage is then converted to AC with the help of an inverter, or we can say DC to AC converter. And finally we get the power in the AC form, and that can be then connected with the grid. So this is the another technology where we are making use of completely power electronic converters. Then we have reached to the last part of our today's discussion, that is issues due to incorporation of DG in power system, or I can say impacts of DG on power system. So this slide will give you the area of research. So the people who are going to start their research, who are searching for the area of research, so they may find the area of research for their research work from this slide. Okay, so I will briefly discuss about all these points which are listed here. Here, single point will give you a single area for the research. Okay, so incorporation of distributed generation in distribution network raises the following issues, raises the following impacts. So first is power losses are increased. So here what is happening? When you say integrate or when you interface your distributed generation with the grid, with the utility, then in that case what will happen? The power losses are going to be increased over there. Okay, what is happening here? The distributed generation will generate as per the input. So whatever the input it is getting, based upon the input, it is going to be have the generation. But if there is no demand, then in that case, what will happen? That power is going to be wasted. If your system is a grid connected system, then in that case, definitely your load dispatch center and all that regulatory bodies are there who will take care of this balance between the real power demand and real power generation. But here, what is happening? The control of DG is not in the hand of utility. And another thing is the load control is also not in the hand of your load dispatch center. So in that case, what will happen? Some surplus energy is fed in the grid, and that is unutilized. So that is going to be how a transmission that is going to be cause a power loss. That is going to be cause a wastage of energy. So this may be a problem with the DG system. Then second is severe power frequency and voltage fluctuations. So if you take the example of wind type of generation, and if you are interfacing that type of systems directly with the grid, then in that case it is going to be cause a severe problem of power fluctuation, frequency fluctuation, and voltage fluctuation. These electrical parameters are going to be affected, because if the input source is variable, so definitely the output of your generator will be variable, and based upon that it may hamper the power output, that is real power generated by your generator. It may hamper the frequency, supply frequency, and it may hamper the terminal voltage of your generator also. So if these three parameters are going to be affected, definitely it is not going to be obey the rule of your synchronization, and in that case it is a problem. It is a challenge, or it is going to be a issue over there. Then next is power quality and reliability may get affected. So here what is happening? If again we take the case of induction generator itself, so in that case, if voltage fluctuation is going to be occur, definitely it is going to be cause the power quality issue, because voltage fluctuation, power quality means what? Again we say similar to your synchronization condition. Uh, on what basis we say that the quality of the power is good? Again we have the condition. One thing is the supply should be rated, voltage should be rated, frequency should be rated, and the most important thing in case of power quality is that the nature of the supply should be purely sinusoidal. जो भी आपकी AC वेव है, अल्टरनेटिंग करंट वेव है, so that AC wave should have pure sinusoidal nature. And if these three conditions are satisfied, voltage rated, frequency rated, and the supply is pure sinusoidal, then in that case, what will happen? The quality of your power supply is said to be good. And here, because of this DG, induction type of DG and all that, the voltage fluctuation, frequency fluctuation may occur, and that are responsible for the power quality problem. Another thing is we are making use of power electronic devices. So if we make more use of more amount of power electronic devices, so you are aware about that these power electronic devices are acting as a source for harmonics. They are generating the harmonics, and they are introducing harmonic in your system. So harmonic is another issue, which is a power quality issue. So this is the case. Reliability, if voltage fluctuation, frequency variation, and all that things are going to be occur, so definitely that type of DG system will not be useful, and that may hamper the reliability of your system. The next is utility protection and DG protection need to be coordinated. So again, what is happening? If you see the utility is having its own protection system, and if you are connecting a DG, so definitely your DG should have some protection, because with that, if you are not providing protection to the DG, so in that case, if any problem occurs or if any fault occurs in your power system, so the effect of that may occur on your DG, and your DG may get damaged. So for that, you need to protect your DG under that case. So here, whatever the protections strategies, or say norms you are using for the utility, for the grid, so same has to be for the DG system also. So there should be some coordination between the protection scheme for DG also. Then and then only your system can work properly. Again, there is the things we have to discuss related with the protection, but that are listed below. The next point is increase difficulty of voltage control. So again, here what is happening? The voltage control, it is difficult, because your utility is going to be control the voltage at different stages, at say generation stage, transmission stage, and the distribution stage. But if you are introducing such type of DG system in your utility, then in that case the control of that voltage is difficult. But nowadays, all the measures and researches are going on in that area to overcome this issue, to overcome this problem. The next is short circuit levels are increased. So again, this is important area. You can have say research work on this. You will if you search out uh, on this short circuit levels, impact of DG on short circuit level as a topic on a Google. So you will find good article, good research papers, and you can further extend that research also. So here what is happening? Short circuit levels. Short circuit level means whenever the fault occurs on your system, then in that case, what will be the short circuit level? So here what is happening in the previous case when we have our conventional power system. So in that case, the source is a conventional power system. So whenever a fault occurs in that system, so in that case, that load is going to be that fault is going to be fed by your available generation in that power system. That is only the source. Okay. So because of that, what is happening? The fault current level is less. But here, what is happening? If a fault occurs on the distribution side, on the customer side, so in that case, what will happen? Your distribution system is also going to be feed that fault, and your distributed generation is also going to be feed that fault. Means both your utility and DG, they are acting as a source for the fault. So during that condition, what will happen? The magnitude of the fault current is very high. So that is short circuit level is very high. So जो भी short circuit current होगा, fault current होगा, that fault current will have a high magnitude, and that is going to be cause major problems. So in order to overcome that, in order to reduce the short circuit levels, what you can use, you can make use of current limiting resistors. So if you search out current limiting resistors as a topic, again you will find good articles and good research paper, and you can work in that research area. That is fault current limiting resistors, or we can say current limiting resistors. Along with that current limiting resistor, nowadays there are some modern devices come up which can have the control on this short circuit levels. So this is again an area where you can contribute. Then next is power flows in a reverse direction. So this power flows in a reverse direction. So we have already seen the system where we have grid, we have DG sources on left hand side, in between we have AC bus, and on the right hand side we have the loads, that figure we have seen. So in that case, what is happening? If utility is disconnected and if your DG is not disconnected, so then also the power is available. So in that case, what will happen? If any person is going to be carry out some maintenance work, if wireman has to carry out some maintenance work on the distribution network, though he has disconnected or though he has say shut down the feeder from the distribution substation, but if DG sources are connected with that network from the customer end, so that is going to be feed the power into that network, and because of that most of the accidents takes place. But nowadays we have online grid connected system to overcome that drawback. Online grid connected inverters are used nowadays in order to overcome that problem. Online grid connected inverters are used. So what is the thing over there? That online inverters, they are going to be generate the output only when the utility is present. जब यूटिलिटी का सप्लाई होगा उसी समय आपका ऑनलाइन इन्वर्टर आउटपुट देगा. If utility is absent, then in that case it is not going to be generate any power. So because of that, the reverse power flow problem has been resolved, and most of the accidents that was taken because of that reverse power flow from the DG to the utility side, that has reduced. Okay, so this is again a area of research where we can work out that what are the strategies, how to design the controls or protections in order to say reduce the accidents and problems caused by this reverse direction power flow. Then next is relay coordination becomes difficult. So relay coordination becomes difficult because We already discussed the case of short circuit current, fault current, short circuit MVA, and all these things are going to be affect because of introduction of your distributed generation system. And if that current levels, fault current levels, short circuit current levels are going to be changed because of the introduction of your DG, definitely your protection system is going to be affected. So in that case, you need to have a relay coordination. आपको रिले का कोऑर्डिनेशन करना पड़ेगा, अदरवाइज योर रिले आर गोइंग टू बी माल ऑपरेट. So for that, relay coordination is an important factor when you are going to be interface your DG into a grid. So you have to have the relay coordination at the utility side as well as at the DG side. Then and then only your system will work smoothly and there will be no mal-operation. Then relay selectivity is difficult to obtain with source impedance variation. Because of introduction of this DG, what will happen? Your source impedance is going to be changed because earlier you have conventional sources and now you have introduced another source and that is on the distribution side. So definitely what will happen? The source impedance is going to be vary and that is going to be cause a difficulty for a relay in order to have the selectivity. तो आप जो आपका रिले है उसका सिलेक्टिविटी जो है दैट इज गोइंग टू बी अफेक्ट because of the variation in the source impedance because of the introduction of your DG into a system. So that is called as a relay selectivity. It becomes difficult in that case. So next point is variation in fault level makes overcurrent relay grading very difficult. So we have current graded protection, we have time graded protection. That kind of protections we have in our system. So our overcurrent relay will have that setting, time graded and current graded. So based upon because of the introduction of this DG, the fault current, short circuit current is going to be changed. So in that case, here your overcurrent relay grading is going to be say difficult or it is found to be difficult when your current level, short circuit current level or fault current level is going to be changed. So that is another difficulty faced by the utility. Then next is voltage transients will appear as a result of the connection and disconnection of generators. So what is happening here? The distributed generation will be on the distribution side or at the customer side. So here, what will happen? The switching operation of this DG means when you are connecting the DG with the grid and when you are disconnecting the DG from the grid, you can have the grid connected operation or you can have a islanded operation. This two kind of operation you can have where you can say connect and disconnect the DG from the grid. So this is going to be cause a voltage transient problem because जब भी आप उसका switching on switching off करेंगे so that is going to be cause the voltage transient issue in your system. So again you can have the experimental setup, you can have experimentation on it, you can have simulation on it, and you can work on it and you can find out how the voltage transients are going to be takes place and you can also find out the solution to mitigate those problems. That is again an area for a research. Then next is voltage unbalance occur. Voltage unbalance is going to be occur because of a DG. So that can be again studied with the help of simulation type of study how this voltage unbalance is going to be takes place by the interconnection of DG with the power system. Then next is stability gets affected. So stability, whenever you are going to be connect the DG to the system, so in that case, stability is also important because what will happen if some parameters are fluctuating, though that will be going to be disobey the rule of your synchronization, and then in that case your DG will not work in the utility or in the grid. So in that case, stability of your system is also important. So here what is happening if you are interconnecting the DG and if voltage values are going to be fluctuate, then in that case the stability of your system is going to be affected. So you can carry out the stability study. You can have the PV curve or the QV curve. So this type of curve you can plot for your DG using the simulation. You can have all this thing, and you can have the plot PV curve and QV curve. And based upon the nature of your PV and QV curve, you can predict the stability, whether the system is stable under the DG case or whether it is unstable. So that stability studies can be carried out with the help of this DG system. Then next is the difficulty of islanding detection. So this is a major problem when we have a grid connected distributed generation. Sometime what is happening, this islanding is nothing but what is happening, islanding is the case where your say distributed generation is going to be separated from the utility, and it is going to be feed the load individually. Okay, so your utility जो है, the DG is connected with the utility, so that interconnection is say interrupted over there, and your DG individually going to be feed the load. So in that case, that operation is called as the islanding operation. But here what is happening, if your source of DG is sufficient to feed that load, then it is okay. But if it is not capable to feed that load, then you need to have some protection. Otherwise, it will cause a major problem. So here, what is happening? Sometimes some peoples, they are going to be carry out intentional islanding, because here in case of islanding there are two cases. One is called as a intentional islanding, another case is called as a non-intentional islanding. So here intentional islanding is done by the customer itself. So customer deliberately disconnect the DG from the utility or grid, and he is utilizing the power generated by the DG for its own application, for its own load. So that type of operation, it is called as a intentional islanding. Another thing is non-intentional islanding. Non-intentional islanding means because of the mal-operation of the circuit breakers, if your DG get isolated from your utility, and under that case the load is still connected with the DG, so that type of operation, it is called as a non-islanded type of operation. And when this non-islanded type of operation are going to be occur, so it affects stability, it affects protection system. So in that case, special care need to be taken. So here, detection of this islanding and classification of this islanding, it is the say another area for the research. Again, you can make a Google search, and you can search detection of islanding of distributed generation. So if you search out this topic, you will find several methods. There are some active methods, there are some passive methods, and there are some new recent methods with which you can have the detection and classification of this islanding type of problem. So these are some problems associated with your DG, or we can say these are the issues, or these are the impacts of your distributed generation on the electrical power system. So out of that, out of this points, you can use any point and you can carry out your research work. Then these are the publication on the work which we have carried out till now related to this. Again, 2 3 papers are in pipeline, so that are not published yet, so that are not listed here. So we have done the work on impact of distributed generation on voltage stability, then impact of distributed generation on system stability using the PV curve that we have told you. Then we have carried out the work on impact of distributed generation on system stability. That it is the same paper. It is say presented in the conference, and the same paper is published in the journal over there. Then next paper, that is impact of distributed generation on protection of power system, that we have carried out, and impact of distributed generation on the short circuit level that we have carried out, and the work that we have carried out further this, that is on the detection and classification of islanding. So that paper we are preparing that paper. We have completed that work when ME thesis was completed this year on that detection and classification of islanding of a grid connected distributed generation system. So these are the references. Thank you. This is all from my side. If you have any query, I will try to answer, because whatever the talk I have delivered, it is a general talk. I have not addressed a particular issue in depth.
Yes, Ravi sir, we have some questions from our participants.
Okay,
So
sir.
we will take few of them. So first question is from Ravi Shankar Naik. How many types of grid and can we treat a DG? Sorry, can we treat a generator as a DG?
How many? What is the question?
How many types of grid
Hmm.
and can we treat a generator as a DG?
Grid is only one. We call utility or we call interconnected network as a grid only. And if you have any small generation, it may be coming under the coming under the category of CHP type of generation, or it comes under the category of renewable energy source generation. So that it may be the two types of say distributed generation, major categories of distributed generation. So if you are any generator which is lying under this, either CHP type or lying under the type of renewable energy source generation, then we can say it as a DG. And if we are synchronizing that generator with the grid, so it will be a grid connected distributed generation system. Grid is a concept which is having a network of sources and a load over there. So we call it as a grid. So there are no types of grid. That the types which I have discussed, that is state grid, regional grid, national grid. So that are the grids which are formed on the basis of area. If you consider area, so we call it as a area grid or state grid. If you consider the particular region, northern region, southern region, western region, we call it as a regional grid. And if you consider India as a complete grid, so we call it as a national grid. So that are not the types. That is only the expansion of the network. And based upon the expansion, based upon the increase in the geographical area, we have given the name as state, region, and nation. Hope I have answered.
Okay, so we'll take next question. Next question is from Dinesh Pawar sir. Uh,
Hmm?
is 1200 kV transmission in India is in operation? He's
1200
asking whether it is in operation or not.
1200 kV system is already in operation, but at present I don't have the name of that line, but it is already in operation. If you Google out, you will definitely get from where to where that link is operating.
There is one point that I want to add, sir. Last year we have a news that the Siemens company has developed a 1200 kV circuit breaker.
Hmm.
So up till now, I think it is in operation.
It is already in operation. It may be possible that the line is derated. Instead of 1200 kV, it may be operated at 765 kV, but it is in operation.
Sir, there is one more question. How from Akshay Pillewan, sir? How distributed generation modeling by PV, PQ, PC, and PI type of the curves? How we can model the distributed generation by using these particular curve types: PQ, PV curve, PQ curve, PC, and PI.
We are not going to be model this on the basis of this curve. Whatever the DG type. So, for example, if you are taking a solar as a DG, so in that case, solar PV system that is going to be designed on the basis of our requirement, power requirement. If I, as a customer, requires only 1 kilowatt for my own house, so definitely what I will do, I will design a system which will generate 1 kilowatt and which will satisfy my 1 kilowatt of load. So definitely condition has to satisfy that the supply voltage should be 230 volt. The whatever the load current for my house for that 1 kilowatt, that should be feed or supplied by your DG system. Based upon that, we can have a design, we can have a modeling. We don't have to model the system based upon PV curve, QV curve, and all that. We used to study that things after designing it, after modeling it. What will be the effect of it on the stability? So for the stability study of that particular system which we have modeled, for that we are going to be have the PV curve. For that we are having the QV curve, and based upon the PV curve, QV curve, we can have the conclusion, or we can have a prediction on the stability.
Yes, sir. And last question is from Lenin Babu. What is the latest possible method to place the DG in the system?
So in order to integrate the DG into a system, nowadays genetic algorithms are used, because here what is happening, optimal placement of DG is another area for the research, because again, at what location you have to put your DG, that is again important. No doubt nowadays the DG is inserted in the system by the customer, and that customer may be present anywhere in the system. But here what is happening, if you connect the DG at one location, it will have some positive impact, it will have some negative impact. And if you connect the same DG at at some other location, so definitely it will have some different advantages and different disadvantages. So what is happening, whatever the positive and negative impacts over there, based upon that, what we can have the optimal placement of DG. So optimal placement is the area where you can work out, where genetic algorithms are helpful or used in order to place the DG at optimal location. Another thing is penetration level. So penetration level is also going to be have several positive and negative impacts on your power system. So definitely whatever the penetration level your system can have, and based upon that, what maximum positive impacts you can derive from it. So for that also you can have, you can make use of the techniques, AI techniques or machine learning techniques. So machine learning, application of artificial intelligence, machine learning, signal processing, so these are the recent areas where you can work out, and you can make the successful operation of your DG in the system.
Okay, thank you, Ravi sir. I think the questions are now complete. We have completed with the questions.
Ramesh sir.
Hello, sir. If you have the question, please use the chat box, sir.
Sir, please open the last slide, reference.
Sir, we are not getting your voice. Hello. So
Okay,
please.
sir. I am sharing opening the slide. I think you are interested in this slide. Issues due to incorporation of DG.
Yes, sir.
Uh, So if you want, you can take the screenshot of it.
Next slide, sir. Reference.
Which one?
Reference page, sir.
Reference page. Okay.
Sir, yes, publications.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Okay, I think Ravi sir, we have now done with the question answer session.
Okay, sir.
Yes, there are no questions left. Okay, Ravi sir, thank you for the beautiful session. In a very short span of the time, you have completed all the aspects which are related to the distributed generation and its impact. Because nowadays government is putting more and more efforts into this particular development of the distributed generation and its implementation into Indian power grid. So on the behalf of Department of Electrical Engineering, I thank Ravi Shankar Kankale sir for sparing his time in this STTP session. And now from the permission of Honorable Head of the Department and all the faculties, I declare that the session is now concluded. And all the participants, please fill the attendance link and the feed and your feedback. Okay. Okay. Thank you. Now I declare the session is now concluded. Okay. Thank you, Ravi sir. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you all the participants. Thank you so much.